Hey folks, Crazy Clamorady here again, and this time we're going to look at game number 7 in our 20 from 1987 series, and this is actually a double feature. This is actually two games created by Sega, absolute classics. One's a little better than the other, but we're going to look at Afterburner and Afterburner 2, and Yu Suzuki was the mastermind behind these awesome games. There were stand-up and a couple different types of sit-down cabinets for these games. But the controls included a flight stick with trigger buttons for a Vulcan cannon and missiles. And there was also a throttle control for Afterburner 2, which was the superior game. I'd seen both of these at the arcades. Afterburner 2 is a slight upgrade. It's very much the same. It's also an air combat flight simulator, but it's better, and we'll look at the reasons why it's better. But we're going to start by looking at Afterburner, and you don't score nearly as much as you can in Afterburner 2. In Afterburner, you do not score as you fly, or for just flying, and you do in Afterburner 2. It's kind of like just running in Space Harrier, or just driving in Hang On or something. We're going to go ahead and get started. You take off from your carrier or your landing strip, and then you simply use the flight yoke to fly left, right, the familiar flight controls. Push down to fly upwards, pull back, or pull back to fly upwards, push forward to fly downwards. Your Vulcan cannon has unlimited shots, and you can just hold it down for rapid fire. Do that for sure in this game. Your missiles are limited, and you will see your stock at the bottom center. And there is a large image of a missile that is 10 missiles, and then the smaller missiles are individual, so that's how you know how many you have left. And you will see crosshairs appear, and you will hear a voice tell you fire. Whoops. And that'll tell you that you can start firing a missile, and it'll fly at that target. You'll have to do some deft aerial maneuvering to get away from the missiles. Every so often you will refuel, and there's actually no fuel meter, but refueling will restock your missiles by quite a bit. Don't be shy about firing missiles. If you run out, you can still shoot enemies with your Vulcan cannon. You want to mostly concentrate on not getting hit by missiles. Eventually, there will be enemies that can appear behind you, and they can shoot at you, and you will need to get out of the way. And there will also be missiles that are trying to hit you from behind that are hot on your tail. I was never really good at this game. For its time, it was unbelievable. There was nothing else like it in the arcades. It was just graphically intense. Unbelievable. I was really blown away, and again, Yu Suzuki was behind this game, and he was responsible for a lot of innovative techniques in Sega games. Sprite scaling was a big one. Oops. If you get on the high score list, the amount of enemies that you downed, that you destroyed, may also factor into your score, or at least you can gain medals if you destroyed a certain amount of enemies. I could never get nearly enough. And it really doesn't matter that much. It's just for decoration. You can continue, and you will get to pick up your score from where you left off. And you will get to pick right up from where you left off. But I'm not going to do that here. But that is Afterburner, the original game. The same year, I don't know how many months later, there was Afterburner 2, and it's definitely a better game. And we'll look at that a little bit later. I didn't even get on this high score. Oh well. But we're going to look at snippets of the remaining stages, and there are a total of, I think it was 18 or 19 in Afterburner 1. A lot of the levels are the same, except there are, I put on invincibility here, there are like a couple stages where you fly between these stone pillars, and you fly really fast. Imagine if you had the throttle control where you could add speed from Afterburner 2 in this game. This is like one of the only areas, I think, where you can actually slam into ground targets. You do not get points for shooting ground targets. You only get points for shooting enemy planes or hitting enemy planes with missiles. I always hold down the Vulcan cannon. Yeah, do not be shy about using your missiles. When you hear fire, just let fly with the missiles. Yeah, there was a moment where we had a missile on my tail, and there will also be, like I said, enemies that can appear behind you and try to shoot at you. You need to just keep moving to get out of their sights. And you will see that sight for enemies behind you, possibly at the top right. And there's another refueling session, and again, you do not have actual fuel meter, so you don't have to worry about running out of fuel. But refueling will restock your missile supply. And I believe you get more missiles to begin with in Afterburner 2. More reasons to prefer Afterburner 2 over Afterburner 1. I'm flying right through some of these columns. Kind of looks like clipping, or whatever they called it in some old PC first-person perspective games, or first-person shooter games. Like Duke Nukem or 3D or Redneck Rampage or whatever. But we're just going to look at snippets of the stages. And once you get to the last stage, you will land back on your carrier. Also in Afterburner 2, there will be cameos from I think the Outrun car, I think the Hang On motorcycle, cameos from characters from other Sega games. Might even be a cameo by the Thunderblade chopper, I don't remember for sure. But yeah, you gotta make some deft maneuvering to avoid the shots from the plane that might be behind you, or the missile that might be behind you. And now we're going to land on the carrier and end Afterburner. Sega Enterprise on the carrier. And now we get the ending sequence to Afterburner. This had numerous ports for home systems, including I think this was for both the Sega Master System and the Sega Genesis. But Afterburner 2 is a better game, and we will look at that in a moment. I did make the high score list with that score, but I didn't get any medals. I didn't have quite enough enemies shot down. Yeah, I think you have to play a game first before you can see actual action in the attract mode in Afterburner. Yeah, it was pretty damn impressive when it came out. Now we're going to have a look at Afterburner 2. And again, this came out the same year as Afterburner, just a little while later, and it's a better game. It's more interesting, and you see more action in the attract mode. Either game, I was blown away by the wonderful graphics. I saw this at all the arcades back then. Lovely lush forests and wetlands and whatnot below you as you fly through your missions. And yeah, you could see by the high score list that the scores get much higher. you just score by flying, period. I loved this part of the attract mode here for Afterburner 2. This was just so cool for its time. I was just like, wow, this is really neat. I think the first place I saw this might have been Malibu Grand Prix. I don't remember for sure. I like finding out from other people where they first saw certain arcade games back in the day. Kind of a cool community thing, finding out where people saw games for the first time. But the controls, like I said, they are the same, except you have a throttle in this, and you can push it forward, and you will go fast for a brief amount of time. And you know what? Don't use it. Or at least I don't. It didn't really interest me. See, the action is pretty much the same. I do like this one better, though. Like I said, you seem to start with more missiles. You start with like 50, and in Afterburner 1, I think it was more like 30 or 40 or something. But yeah, there are bonus points that you can get for shooting ground targets in those scenes with the stone pillars. And there might be bonus points that you can get during some of the other missions as well. I loved seeing the attract mode for Afterburner 2, and seeing the big hand holding the flight stick and moving it around. You still have refueling scenarios here. There are other scenarios where you will land on a strip and then take off again, and you will refuel there somehow. But the action is pretty much the same. It's really tough avoiding getting taken down by the missiles. And it's like a handful of stages before you have to start worrying about enemies behind you trying to shoot you down. But yeah, just like Space Harrier or some of the other games, you will, by Sega, you will score points just by moving. And you'll get some extra points after you crash or get shot down, until you actually slam into the ground and have finished burning into a heap of iron or steel or whatever. Then the scoring will stop for a moment until your next plane appears. Yeah, you can. Here's one of those landing sequences, and you will refuel here. Oh, there is some sort of fuel tank up there, and that might have been the hang-on motorcycle that passed us by. In those types of sequences, those landing sequences, you will see a cameo by a character from another Sega game. Like I said, there's like the motorcycle from Hang On or Super Hang On, and there's the car from Outrun. Probably some other cameos as well. I have never played the Sega Genesis version of... I think it was Afterburner 1. Might have been Afterburner 2, I don't remember. And I don't remember if I'd seen one for the Sega Master System. Oops. And I ran out of lives. I neglected to continue here as well, but we will see snippets of the remaining levels of this Afterburner 2, although they are mostly the same as Afterburner. And we're going to put in my initials, and here as well, I did not get enough medals, I think, or I did not get enough hits to get medals. And notice I didn't make the top higher than the top 7. And I think the scores higher than the top 7 got medals. But we will see snippets of the remainder of the levels. You get to put in, I think it was 4 initials for Afterburner 1 and just 3 for Afterburner 2. Now, in this attract mode, you get to do a 360, and I didn't think you could do that in Afterburner 2, because I held to the far left, and it wouldn't do a 360, and I even pushed a couple times while I was holding to the far left or far right or whatever, and it wouldn't do a roll. Oh well. Well, yeah, here's the enemy behind you trying to take shots at you. And I had invincibility on at this point too. Just such an impressive air combat simulator at the time. There was really nothing quite like it. Nothing nearly this smooth. But yeah, again, you have a throttle, and you can push it forward to fly faster in this. And you could not do that in, you did not have that control in Afterburner 1. Tried to fly a little better, and I still went right through the columns. Oh well. Yeah, there were a number of computer games back in the 90s that there were cheats that allowed you to go through walls. And that's kind of what that reminds me of. There's a missile behind me. Just have to do deft aerial maneuvering to get out of its way. Something that kind of gets lost with all the awesome graphics and scaling and whatnot is the pretty good soundtrack. Yeah, there really wasn't anything quite like this at the time of its release. Well, it was Afterburner 1, but I mean either game. There was really nothing quite like it before that. I think the first taste of aerial combat simulator I ever played was Red Baron, which was a vector game. Oh, sorry about that. Got kind of glitchy there. Sometimes something happens on my computer, like a little video will play or something in the background, and it'll make Bandicam go glitchy sometimes. But this game, Afterburner 2, has more stages. It has, I think it was 23 stages, and Afterburner 1 had like 19 or something. Yeah, I like that there is ground target scoring. I think every air combat game should have that. I like taking out ground targets that might be less threatening than the air targets. But there was another sequel. There was an Afterburner 3, and I believe that was for the Sega CD system. I would like to do a retrospective on the Sega CD. I used to have that. I really liked it. A lot of people were not fans of the glut of full motion video games for it, but I didn't let that bother me. I had a lot of fun with Sewer Shark and Night Trap. Double Switch was a little too difficult for me. But there are a number of really good full motion video games for it. There's another refueling sequence. Yeah, there's a little dialogue for when a missile is behind you, or when a plane is trying to shoot you down from behind. And here we are at the back at the carrier at the end of Afterburner 2. And like I was saying, maybe that is supposed to be Thunderblade's chopper on the carrier. I don't know that for sure. No way to know for sure. But the ending sequence is the same in Afterburner 2 as it was in Afterburner 1. But I definitely prefer Afterburner 2 to Afterburner 1. And I didn't get medals here either, though I got a much higher score because I used invincibility so I could play through the whole game. Well, I hope you all are enjoying your weekend. Don't know what your weather's like, but I'm getting drenched. We're getting rained on like crazy. One more week before my area lifts mask mandates on public transportation. I can't wait because I got to take it to go to work. Well, that was my look at Afterburner and Afterburner 2 by Sega, both in 1987. That was game number 7, our 20 from 1987 series, and I hope to see you soon for game number 6. Y'all take it easy, everybody. Bye-bye.